Hey everyone, got update on some news. Over the weekend, you may have heard Iran's president Hassan Rouhani did some missile testing, and the United States is a little concerned about it. Donald Trump, in particularly, a little butthurt. And I think he implemented some sanctions on Iran. I'm not 100% sure, but they definitely reacted to it. And that plays right into my defense stocks. Now I noticed this wasn't a big jump off of this news, but it's definitely a consistent uh, boon to the stock rising. This ETF rising. Um, some of the stocks in this sector I noticed too are a little bit up still, like Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, General Dynamics. Um, and it's a scary thing to talk about in a sense, because they theoretically can attach a nuclear warhead to the missile that they tested. So, that's always a scary thought. But I mean, let's keep it real. United States is a powerhouse in this world, and we have plenty of nukes, so we're just as deadly and careless and reckless. So we're not saints, even though we try to establish our dominance on other countries to make sure they don't pretty much do the same thing we're doing, like getting involved in wars and all kinds of crap. But anyway, that's my political bias. Um, but I wanted to just kind of highlight some of these stocks that were kind of just keeping the momentum going on this news. What did I say? Like Lockheed Martin was one. It had popped before here. Just on like previous news, and then it's just kind of continuing this upward trend. So I'm liking that. I'm liking this play in the market right now because I think it's gonna continue through the next 4 years of this administration, and also like General Mattis, before he was even confirmed, long before he was confirmed, and here's Raytheon, it's also up, kind of just continuing up on this news. But anyway, General Mattis was he was interviewed, and they asked him, if you are elected as, or confirmed as, Secretary of Defense, what is going to be your primary concern? What do you think, the United States is concerned about when it comes to defense? And he mentioned at the time saying Iran was our one of our bigger threats that we need to be concerned about. So it's interesting that he is the Secretary of Defense. He's confirmed, and we got two other generals, one for Homeland Security and one for something else. So we got a lot of military power in our cabinet right now. But I found it interesting though, because this kind of plays into what General Mattis was talking about, way back when. And I mean, it could be nothing, it could be just like they're just testing a missile, whatever. But the fact that we reacted to it, Trump reacted to it, and it kind of falls in line with what Mattis was saying back a while back. It's interesting, and I think it's a good play for my bet on defense stocks. Like anything that comes out where, and I hate to say it's I feel disgusted saying it, but like whenever there's like a mass shooting, whenever there's a sniper, whenever there's like like a threat where someone's going around, like when the guys that drive the trucks over people, all that awful shit. Whenever that stuff happens, typically like gun stocks and defense stocks rise because that's when people start thinking about protecting themselves when they see these things on the news. Now, am I saying that buying this sector and stocks that relate to it make you like a bad person? Like not necessarily, but it is one of those things where like you have an inner conflict where where you think about what you're investing in. Like same thing with oil. Like I feel bad, that um the natives are getting their basically where their graves where their ancestors are buried ripped up. And I don't mean to like laugh at that like it's a joke. I mean it's just so sad that it's happening. But as you can see in here, like I'm not gonna pretend I'm not a hypocrite. I buy raw earth. I buy the oil sector, and every time Trump does something where he elected Rex Tillerson, oil CEO from Exxon, as Secretary of State. Trump started or revived plans to finish Dakota Access Pipeline and Keystone Pipeline, as well as I mean, it hasn't been talked about yet, but Exxon had a deal with Russia back in the day for like a $500 billion pipeline. That's billion with a B, a pipeline deal that Obama slapped down. So now that the former CEO of ExxonMobil is now the Secretary of State, and Trump, my God, every time this dude gets asked to talk about Vladimir Putin, and like the press will say like, he had people killed, which is true. He treats people like shit, which is true. And every country has problems, our country included. But when they're saying all stuff about him, like Trump always defends him, which is really interesting. And it makes me think that this pipeline deal, they really want to bring it back, that $500 billion deal. So I'm interested to see how that plays out. But it's sad, because oil. I prefer alternative energy myself. Like if solar stocks and wind stocks, and like even like nuclear energy, like renewable energy was like a hot sector, and like people were buying into it, you best believe I'd be spending all my money on that, because that's what I'm about. I don't really like oil stocks. Like it's old money to me. That's like coal stocks. It's just like it's not new age. It's not progressive. It's not looking towards the future. You're just doing the same old shit, and that's why it's harder for alternative energy to make it, because oil stocks or oil companies, will do everything they can to suppress it, including buying off like senators and stuff. So when they vote on things like doing a carbon tax or a renewable energy deductible at the end of the year on your paycheck, like if you have solar panels or something like that, you can like deduct that from your taxes so you can get some money back. Like they fight that stuff, so that because they don't want people to want alternative energy, they want people to buy oil. But that's just kind of that though. But like, and it's hypocrisy in the sense that I feel bad that I buy these stocks, but I know, like I'm a realist. I know that these are the stocks that are gonna do good, and so far they have been making gains. So like I've been pretty on point for the most part. And then healthcare recently, like I remember that one was doing bad for me, but the Live Long and Prosper, where it started coming back when they talked about repealing like Obamacare and everything. And when the Trump had his meeting with the pharma companies, and it seems like they basically convinced them to not lower drug prices, which means everybody who's fucking investing in pharma companies are super happy because they're gonna be able to charge whatever the fuck they want on all these prices. But I think you gotta look at other things like Trump repealing like the or wanting to repeal the Dodd-Frank Act, and like you're getting the banks basically free reign to do whatever they want and make money. And he just, like, I don't like that, because like it seems like in the past, like multiple times throughout our history, you know there was a law in effect that kept banks under control, and then a president or the Congress repeal or work to repeal it, or gut it, weaken the bill, and then a recession happened or a crash happened. Just like when Clinton did some stuff to gut Glass-Steagall. I think towards the end of his candidacy, like in '99 maybe, because I think he was out by 2000. 2008, the market crashed because the fucking banks do whatever the fuck they want. It ran it up into a huge bubble. And that was like our Great Recession. And then we made Dodd-Frank or Obama signed Dodd-Frank in 2010, and then now Trump's taking it out. So who knows? Like in 4 years, we might have another crash. I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but I'm just saying I don't know. But and then also like with like the whole bank stock things, like repealing Dodd-Frank, like there's a fiduciary rule in there that basically, or it's a reinforced fiduciary rule where, whoever's investing your money for you, like if you go to somebody and they invest in stocks, your retirement 401k, health savings account, whatever, there's a fiduciary rule where the person is legally obligated to have your best interest or invest in your best interests. Well, if they repeal Dodd-Frank and that rule goes away, now some asshole's going to do whatever he wants with your money, and if he fucks it up, you can't really sue him over that or anything like that because there's no legal obligation. Kind of like with the Wells Fargo scam where they created a bunch of false accounts, They just do it. Banks just do whatever they can to get money to pump their numbers up, So like me as just a nobody, just a regular guy, who doesn't have money to fight the government or like hire a lawyer to go against like a long legal battle with like a bank to protect myself, I get hurt by all that. But in the same term, I recognize the game that, you know, like the rich, wealthy 1% are playing and what they're investing in, so I'm investing in it too. So like I'm playing the game and I'm being dirty, but like I'm doing it to protect myself. You know what I mean? It's kind of weird, but that's just like my philosophy and how I think about it. But the main thing I wanted to highlight, though, I kind of got way off topic there, is just the defense stocks. You know, like it's just that reinforced rhetoric of them being confirmed by everything that's happening with other countries and possibly going to war or continuing our existing wars. Like Obama dropped like 26,000, I guess reported like 26,000 bombs in like 2016. And, you know, I'm pretty sure Trump, kind of guy he is, you know, he wants to up that because he's about that oil. And, you know, Middle East got plenty of it. So I'm sure it's only going to get worse over there. And I feel bad for that. But like I said, I mean, I got to do what I can. But I just wanted to touch on that. Also, I made a couple, just real quick before I finish this up. I set up a couple trades that I placed a couple market orders for the limit buy for NAK and PIP. I know a lot of people are talking about PIP because of that EX dividend or that special dividend, and it got paid on like the 6th or something like that. I don't remember, but if you look at this chart, like it was up 322, and then once all the money came out for the pay, then it dropped, but now it's back on a steady climb. But the reason why I'm kind of interested in this stock, if you look at it on a 1-year chart, like obviously you see this huge spike up over here when they announced like the special dividend, so people got interested. But I mean, if you just follow this chart just throughout the year, you'll see that it's just steadily been climbing. You know, like month after month, it's just been positive. So this company seems to like it looks like it had triple digit growth. Yeah, like there's like 100% right there in January, all the way to January 2017. So like it's shown that it could grow as a stock. So that's why I'm kind of interested in it. And now that it got knocked down after that special dividend and it's slowly back up on the rise again, I think I'm gonna put some money in it just to see what happens. Just to maybe see if it gets up to like $2 or something like that. Then I'll pull money out. And then same thing with NAK. I wanted to see because it's kind of been getting like flat right here in this 1-month chart, and it had this peak right here of 332. So I put in a buy order like around like 291 or something like that. So it's got to drop down in price more first before I buy it. But like I look at these peaks, right? Like you see this run up and then peak, right? And then it goes kind of horizontal, and then there's a run up and then a peak, and then it goes down, it goes a little horizontal, and then there's a run up peak again, and then it goes horizontal. So it's either gonna go. I predict, you know, and I always could be wrong, you know. I don't pretend to be right, but I predict it could go down a little bit to kind of trace back some of its gains, like these two peaks here. But I think it's gonna peak again, so I kind of want to get it on the drop and then ride that run up to like a peak, or predict kind of where the peak's gonna be at, and then pull out. So that's kind of my strategy for these two stocks I'm buying into. And then, of course, GLBS that had this nice little run up, but it kind of traced back some of its gains. So I'm hoping it's gonna come back up again, like it repeat like it did in the past right here, where it had this big run up. You know, I'm a big believer in history repeating itself, and oftentimes it does. But you just got to be like on the right side of history. You know, you got to be there at the right time. You gotta understand. You gotta look at long-term charts. And that's what I try my best to do. That's how I have the best results I've noticed now. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying I'm the best at this. I'm not saying any of that. You know, I'm just saying like that's what I've noticed, and that's kind of what I do, and it's helped me out. You know, and like as always, you know, like watch other content. You know, watch what other people talk about, if they talk about the same thing or different strategies, and just use that information to the best of your ability to make that money for you. But anyway, I just wanted to give you that information, and also just like shout out to everybody real quick, just giving me like so much support, like thanking me for the videos and everything like that. It makes me feel so good because like I'm doing this just to give back in a sense to all the other YouTubers that I subscribe to and that I watch, that I learned over like the years to learn how to do this. You know, like I'm just trying to be another voice out there, another person whose videos you can watch and just learn a little bit more. You know what I mean? And I really do appreciate everyone just giving me that positive feedback. So I just want to say thanks. You know, just it makes me feel like what I'm doing is actually helping. When that's really what it's about. It's just trying to help. So thank you for that. But anyway, as always, you know, if you like my content, click like, subscribe, help me out. And of course, if you have a question, leave a comment and I'll do my best to answer it for y'all. So enjoy the rest of your night.